series as of late has been a bit of a weird patch, huh? Don't get me wrong, the past couple of years have seen some real bangers from the line, and I've found enjoyment in almost all of the weird and flawed releases too. Gamer Edition has found its footing, and 86 has been win after win, iterating on the War for Cybertron trilogy molds and making truly definitive figures for the G1 movie cast. The movie lines, however, yeah, it's been weird. Bayverse has been mostly pushed aside to leave space for Rise of the Beast and Transformers 1. Both of those movie lines have had strange issues of feeling simultaneously rushed to meet the movie release, and having main characters not see a studio series release until long after the film had come and gone. With all these detours and sublines, we've seen the line go back to basics. From my beloved Q, to the triumph of Age of Extinction Night Prime, to the that is KSI Widow. And this is where we find Barricade. A design that has been long awaited since Studio Series inception. Does it live up to the hype? How does it iterate on the original figure? Find out on this episode of Total Drama Island! Starting with the vehicle mode, which I want to say is basically perfect. I'm not a car girl and you can't make me one, but I won't deny that this alt mode is amazing. Studio Series has almost always excelled in their vehicle modes, and this is no exception, with no visible kibble or gaps worth caring about. The paint throughout the vehicle is very impressive. Painting the taillights and headlights, which would usually be omitted on any other figure. It thankfully rolls pretty well too. 4-pin wheels, love to see it. Comparing it to the real deal, there are some details missing, but there's not enough to really mind. And I'm sure Toy Hacks will fix those missing tampos at some point. One thing that's a bit less clean is the weapon storage. There isn't very much space to store the weapons in vehicle mode, and considering how he is pushing the accessory count for a modern Deluxe, and the fact that you have to remove all of them to transform him is a little disappointing. There are dedicated tabs to store the weapons on the outside of the card, and the two halves of his arm gun can connect to the taser weapon and attach to the top, which feels like a nod to the original Deluxe. You could call this Stealth Force, I guess? Remember Stealth Force? The transformation is an improvement on a lot of the transformations we've seen from other Baybots, and much of that is to do with the plastic quality. The clear plastic in particular is both solid and not on any load-bearing joints. It would have been nice to see the side panels able to hinge outward for the sake of clearance, but once you figure out the specific alignment to get the arms in and out, it's not that bad. The main issues are the legs, which you need to be careful with lest you pop the feet off the ball joints. But again, once you figure out the whole order of operations, you can definitely convert them without it happening. Everything was a little bit too tight when I first opened him, but after doing it a couple times, everything began to feel a lot smoother. Barricade's robot mode really shows the improvements from the original Deluxe. Portions, kibble management, and accuracy are all much better on this figure. No fan mode roof riot shield required! You can see it especially on the chest, which has a really smart conversion to mimic the screen model. The paint is a bit lacking on the robot mode, but the color breakup does do well to mask that. Toy Hacks is going to have a field day with this robot mode. There's a lot of small details on this guy that really show the design team put everything into him. From the dedicated transformation step of rotating the siren for a slightly more accurate back, to the painted siren heterochromia on the eyes. I predict the head sculpt is going to be a bit of a case of the Studio Series jolt for some, where enough people were more accustomed to seeing the original toys based on concept art design that seeing a more accurate head is just jarring. I think they did really well here to capture his on-screen head though. One detail that they missed on, however, is the knuckle dusters, which were the coolest part of the original design and are completely omitted, but I figure they couldn't include them here.
Because of the implication.
Something 40% cops. Hopefully DNA cooks something up. I wanted to cover accessories more thoroughly in robot mode, since this is when they really come into play. He comes with an arm-mounted taser for one arm, and two halves of his 6-barrel cannon for the other, which can have trouble connecting. I find having the top half first really helps. This already looks cool, and the arm gun is blast effect compatible, which is really stellar. But he also comes with two pistols with dedicated sculpts. One is this, kind of looks like a big stapler. But the other one is one of the coolest guns I've seen on a Transformer, to be honest. The tabs sticking out are a bit distracting, but they are so that they can holster on the hips, which looks so damn cool. Also, the lane pistol has this weird tab on the bottom, and I have no idea what it does. Is this Evo Fusion? The endless praise does have to end a bit going past the knees, which do end up looking a bit unfinished. It's not helped by the sculpted spring detail that is just not on the actual design, and with the way the thighs look, they kind of just seem like they've been cut and are replaced with the lower legs of a much more bulky design. It's not as bad as the renders showed it to be, and you could use the transformation hinges to get some extra articulation. On that note, for posing, he is a weird one. Thankfully, he has a waist, but he is another Deluxe to leave out the wrists. The shoulders are quite restrictive, only able to go out this far, and the way this piece is sculpted too makes the elbows look very strange. Even with these limitations, you could still make him look really good, but I am hoping an upgrade kit can improve on some of these foibles. DNA, come on. Overall, this figure is really something special. Living up to the best of the line and redeeming the shortcomings of Barricade's past. How are these the same character again? Barricade, in my opinion, is well worth the money. He feels great in the hand, and it really seems like they squeezed everything they could out of the Deluxe budget. He really blew me away. The future of Studio Series when it comes to the movieverse is a little uncertain, but figures like Barricade and Night Prime have given me high hopes for what is next to come. Psst, I also got a Brawl and Blast Off, and I plan on making reviews. Please stay tuned. You should subscribe right now. Subscribe.